How will we look back at Jonny Bairstow's career?
Very carefully, so that Jonny Bairstow doesn't tell us off.
Harmy?
I mean, he's such a polarising cricketer, isn't he? And the thing about him is that I heard him talking about the other day ago, I'm still here and all this sort of stuff, and he likes the drama, doesn't he? It gets the best out of him. I think he was a fantastic white ball cricketer, especially in one-day cricket. After spending it took him a long time to get in. In Test cricket, he can play a great innings, but he's obviously not a great batter. He's not able to replicate that enough. I think he's a player who's very much like his own personality. He's absolutely brilliant at the things he does, and he has incredible insecurities within his game that can be shown up at any one point or another. I love the way that he backs himself. There's something about him. I remember he was playing in that Sunrisers game when they had that record chase, and I was watching it. And about 15 minutes in, I was like, "He's going to win this game." He just believes he's going to win this game. And when Bairstow's like that, having been at Trent Bridge and watched him in South Africa at Cape Town and all these different places, you just know when he's on one, he's on one. But we also know, remember when he couldn't play Rahat Ali, and random bowlers just absolutely tormented him. Where you're just like, the strengths are so brutal and the weaknesses are so raw with him that I think he will be remembered as a captivating player, but not a great player, all things considered. But I don't think anyone in this room would say he can't play a great innings. Like if he was to play a great innings tomorrow, because I thought he was finished in that IPL and then he played that innings. If he was to play England would go, no, we're going to give you one last summer just to prove yourself. If he made 200 or 150 balls against a great, a really good quality West Indies lineup, I'd be like, yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah. I can also see him averaging 12 in that series. And that's Jonny Bairstow, isn't it?
I think he's been one of England's best multi-format players. Arguably one of England's best ever multi-format players. I think over the course of the last 12, 18 months, Jonny Bairstow's played a hell of a lot of cricket, been in a hell of a lot of dressing rooms. He's been in and out of sides, but he's still been there. I remember what happened to me in New Zealand when Broad and Anderson came in. And the best thing that happened to me was I went back to Durham and played. I had a year and a half in the wilderness, but I still felt as though I could play Test cricket. And I came back. I think that's what I'd do with Jonny.
Do you think he'll come back?
It's up to him.
As we sit here
I hope so.
now.
I hope so, because for me, he's, in the last 12 months.
How does he come back? Because
I think he goes and gets the love for the game back again, because I think what I mean by that is actually just spending some time at home. He became a father for the first time this year. He's been in a hotel for the last 12 months. I mean, he's been...
Well, he also had that horrendous injury.
He had the horrendous injury. He's been...
But do you think he's coming back?
He's been red ball. That's up to...
It's not up to Jonny, though, is it?
Well, it is up to Jonny, because...
Partly it's up to Jonny,
because
but partly it's up to there becoming a space available in the Test team. Is he going to play T20 cricket
as an individual player, I look at England's top six and go, Brooks on his way to being very, very good at potential. I'll go Stokes and Root to quality performers. But for me, Jonny's next best.
So he goes back in front of
No, he doesn't go back. But what I'm saying is, Jonny Bairstow's he's a better player of international bowlers than Crawley, Duckett, and Pope.
And I think
he doesn't fit in there. He doesn't fit in there. And I'm not saying England. But what I'm trying to say is, if he's on form and when he's playing,
you can see him playing Test cricket again.
What I'm challenging Jonny is, you've had 12 months of living out of hotel suitcases. You have form's dropped, you've dropped fitness levels because of the injuries, everything that's going. You became a father for the first time. I'm not going to pick you for the next 6 months. I'm going to leave you to find out where Jonny Bairstow is in life and see what Jonny Bairstow does. If Jonny Bairstow goes and plays in the 100, goes and plays in franchise tournaments and starts smashing it again after having a break for get his energy back, then that Jonny Bairstow comes back. He's a valuable member of the England. He's an asset because he's unbelievably talented. But at the minute he's not, because I think
He's exhausted.
Exhausted. I think mentally he must be exhausted. I think physically he looks as though he's exhausted. And I also think when your form hits when that happens to you, you're constantly in a negative frame of mind and a form point of view. He might just need 3 months away from cricket. Just go and sit in the garden for 3 months.
I also just
walk
think
the dogs, come back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I mean by it's up to Jonny, because then Johnny's now got to go in 2 or 3 months' time. Like I had that moment off the back of New Zealand. I'm going to go and win Durham Championship, and I'm going to make sure that when Strauss is running out of bowlers, they can't just say Harmison's gone, Hogarth's gone, because I'm going to be leading wicket taker in this country, and I'm going to make sure Durham win the championship. And that's
a couple of years ago.
That's up to Jonny now.
Yeah, there's a couple of years ago when I looked at when I was trying to work out who England could actually pick as another batter when they were all the county records suggested he was the best player in county cricket. I think it was him, and then there was a gap between everyone else. He's had periods where he's averaged like 70 or 80 in county cricket, over a couple of years before. If it's athleticism and it's his leg, it may never come back the same way that it was, but he probably will still be able to occasionally score the high scores, but not consistently. If it's not that, and he's just tired and he needs to go back, there's every chance he goes off for 3 or 4 months and just absolutely burns the house down. We know that England's batting is not completely solid yet. Baseball has papered over the cracks, but the cracks are still there. We all know that they're still there. There's every chance that Bairstow comes back, but I think he's only going to come back if it's on the back of, again, averaging 70 or 80 over a county season where he just looks like the best player that's not in the team. We know he can do that because the one thing about Bairstow is, as I was saying before, when he's on, we all know he's on, and that's it. That period where he just kept making 100 after 100, which happened, 2 or 3 times in his career, he gets on a batch and then he can go. If England can get him on one more 18-month batch, you don't leave a player with that kind of impact off, especially because of his scoring rate. Right, because his ability to change a game so quickly. I just think that if he looks like he's on the verge of that again, you pick him. And if he's not on the verge of that, or they bring him back and he doesn't do it in international cricket, you go, mate, we stuffed you around in the batting order. We brought in a specialist number 7 who was a wicketkeeper that completely messed with your mind. We brought in another specialist wicketkeeper later on to take the gloves off you. We batted you at first drop. We batted you here. You were in and out the side, all this sort of stuff. We probably didn't get the most out of you, but you still did incredible things for our country. Thank you for being a player, and good luck in the future.
And what does the future post-cricket hold for Jonny Bairstow?
Podcaster.
Do you see?
I don't know.
talkSPORT.
Yeah, I don't know. He loves the game. He has to love the game. He can't go around I know financially it's very lucrative going around in these leagues, but Jonny loves the game. You can see that because the way he plays the game. The leagues he plays in and the level
Okay, so he
he's
loves
at.
the game. Is that coaching? Is that commentating? Is that something else?
He could do. I think that's such a difficult question.
What do you think suits his personality, I suppose, is my question.
I think playing the game suits him.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So when he stops,
being aware,
where does that go?
Being aware. I think he quite likes being.
But when he stops, can you see him as I can see David Warner as a brilliant coach, and I can see David Warner as an even better broadcaster. I'm not sure I quite see Jonny as a coach, but I could see him as a broadcaster.
I think it's so difficult.
He's got a way of looking at which
what
I think would be fascinating.
That's why I thought podcaster. I know I wasn't being flippant.
Yeah.
I just think that, there's a few players, him and Ashwin are the two of the guys I would like a microphone to be in front of them and get them to, but I don't necessarily want them, and look how long it's taken for Harmy to become the broadcaster he is. It's hard when you first retire. If podcasting was around when Harmy first went, it was perfect for the way that he goes about it. And I think Bairstow is that kind of person.
Matt Pryor about Jonny Bairstow, about the way that he'll look at the game. It'll be quite a refreshing way of looking at it, and he won't countenance.
But I always think, John, that question of what you're going to do when you finish is such a difficult question in a way that when you do finish, you could be the one thing that you think he will never do. He actually always does, because you just go. He's never suited for that. But unfortunately, that's where he fell in. He could go into business.
Rugby league manager, managing director.
He's got other passions. He loves horse racing.
Loves it. The Leeds Rhinos.
Is it rugby league? He
loves rugby league. He loves the horse racing. I've got a soft spot for Jonny. I really like him as a person, as a cricketer. I think he's been one of England's best multi-format cricketers. I hope, if I was advising Jonny, I'd be saying to him, just go and get your head down. Be a dad for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Go and enjoy being a dad, walking the dogs. Put your cricket. Don't even look at your cricket kit for the next 3 months, and then start plotting your way back. If you've got the drive and desire to get yourself in a position again, from a physical point of view and a mental point of view, to go again, go back and get in that England team. And what you do that is, you'll be wanted at the IPL. You'll be wanted in these franchise tournaments. You'll eventually come back and play a little bit for Yorkshire, and you'll come back through runs, because at the end of the day, I don't think Jonny really understood when they took the gloves off him from a batting point of view that England needed him as the batter. I think Jonny's seen that as a demotion from batter wicketkeeper to going in as a batter. It's like, Jonny, no, we are so bad at batting at the minute. We need you just to concentrate on batting, because you are one of our best batters. And I think mentally, I don't think Jonny recovered from that. I think Heath, in his eyes, it was a demotion where he was like, well, I'm scoring these runs at number 7. I like batting here. I like keeping wicket. Why are you changing my role? Because we're not batting very well. We're struggling for numbers. We need you to be the batter. I didn't agree with him going at number 3, but we needed that number 5 should have been perfect spot for him. I don't think Jonny got that. I don't think, maybe he's missing in translation. I might not have explained it to him that you're one of our best players, so we need to take the gloves off you because we need you to score like consistent runs. I don't think he got that, but I think this message for me is clear from Rob Key. You know, we're moving on from you now. And it's up to Jonny if he wants to say no, you're not, because he can do that by going and getting the weight of runs, big tournaments, and being the Jonny Bairstow we had from 4 or 5 years ago. And I just think this last 12 months, living in a hotel, living out of a suitcase, becoming a dad for the first time, I think physically and mentally he must be absolutely knackered. Give him some time off to refresh, and I think you'll get a real good Jonny Bairstow coming back.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.